What I'm tying here is a double decker. It's the version I use for the Lake of Mentieth. The fly was originally designed by Niel Sinclair for the river tunnel to be held up in big, fast flowing streams to catch those big fish. But I tied some up and I used them on the Lake of Mentieth to great success, and they still work really well. Now I've got a B160 hook in the vise. It's a size 12. And I like size 12, size 10s and size 8s, believe it or not, because obviously the Lake of Mentieth has mayfly hatches. I'm using some Danvilles thread. It's a tan thread, it's a 6/0. Got to be quite a strong thread because you're using the deer hair. So we'll tie that in. And what we'll do is trim it. We'll take the thread down to the bend of the hook. The fly will look kind of terrible until I'm actually finished with it, because it gets quite messy because it's got a double deer hair wing. And I'm using olive micro Fibbets for the tail. You don't have to get 5 and 6 or 3 or 4, just whatever you feel like. I usually pull 3 or 4 out. Catch it in, a couple of turns forward, lift the tail up, a couple of turns underneath, 2, 3, I'll just hold the tail up, and forward again. Now before we go any further forward, what I'm doing is taking some thread off the bobbin. I've made a loop, and I'm going to catch and tie over the top of both pieces of thread on that loop. That's going to be my rib for the body. So I'll just stick that in the little spring. I'm going to go forward. Just before the eye, we'll trim that bit off. Then forward. We want to go right up to the eye, because we're going to use deer hair. Drop my finish tool. And what colour will we use? Mostly when the fly is a size 12 and below, it's quite awkward to use normal coarse deer hair, you know, just the normal body stuff, so I tend to use the coastal stuff, which is much finer. So we want to take off a chunk and just, as I say, the fly will look terrible until it's finished. Hold it up, catch it in, and just keep holding it and whipping back, you know, running the thread backwards. Now I'm taking my scissors underneath and I'm going to trim, and you'll end up with that little sort of lip. So I'm going to just tie that off, and where that finishes is where I'm going to tie the next wing in. Now, every time I tie this at a fly tying demo, I'll get asked, do you not use a deer hair stacker? Do you not use a hair stacker? Blah de blah. No, I don't, because I like it to be rough rather than too tidy. I find if you use a stacker, the fly looks far too neat. Right, so I've basically same length. So the tips of the second wing is going to be the length of the tips of the first wing. Catch it in and just pull down tight. And you see it splays out quite nicely. I'm still holding this bit at the back at all times. Work your scissors in behind. Trim it. And just using your finger, your thumb and your forefinger, just lift up and tidy that up. Right, now don't worry too much about it. So I'm just going to take the thread back to the bend again, cut these wee bits off underneath. Oh, and chop the thread. Okay, so quickly catch that back in. Don't worry if you cut the thread, 9 times out of 10 you can catch it back on any fly. It's only when you're using springy elasticy type things that it kind of struggles. Right, now next thing we're going to do is we're going to dub up some dubbing on. Now I think this is what makes a difference on the fly in the lake. The dubbing's pale yellow. I sell it, but I don't know how much longer my supply will last, because it wasn't me that dyed the materials. Now I'm just taking some, and it's a natural dubbing as well. I'll probably try and, I'll be able to get the colour, but whether I can get the blend right, I'll have a wee go at it. But it's certainly worth having. I don't know, the fish on Lake of Mentieth love it. So we'll just put a bit of dubbing on just now, and we'll start winding forward. And what will happen is once you get closer to the deer here, you'll start seeing it goes to a carrot shape. Right, so the fly's actually becoming a sort of carrot shape because of the natural way the wings, and you've tied them off. At this point I'm going to take a rib, which is the thread, and I'm going to twist it. Right, and we're just going to start ribbing that up the body to about there, and we'll just catch that in with a couple of turns. Right, and we'll cut that off. Now I'm just using my thumb to push the wings up so I know which way they're sitting. I want to trim these wee bits off, making sure I don't cut the thread at this point. Okay, and what we want to do is just get one wee bit of dubbing, so it's just like a little ball, just enough for 2 turns. We'll bring that up. What we're going to do is split the wing. You'll not always get it perfect where you tie the 2 wings in, so I just try to even it up, split it, pull that wing back. There we go, we get 3 turns in there, but you can see how easily the deer hair goes back into shape. And then just pull that wing back. Pull it back and just do a whip finish, and then another one. Good thing about the Danvilles thread is it's pretty strong. Once I mean, if I'm tying on a size 10 or a size 8, I'll end up using probably 3/0. But just set that up. I'm pretty sure that would work really well on the Irish lakes as well, and lochs, you know, when the mayfly and the olives are hatching. I'll just give that a coat of varnish under there. And the wing's very manageable, you can move it about, but there you go, and you can see the shape of it. That'll sit up, just gink that thing up. I mean, I've actually, if the fish don't take it off the surface, what I tend to do is start figure eighting it back on a midge tip, and that'll pull it under, and the fish will take it under the surface as well. It's a really good fly, especially on the Lake of Mentieth.